Alrighty, here we have Final Apex, being played on Xbox Series X. Vico courtesy the publisher. This is a pretty cool little racing game. It's $10 on the Microsoft Store, so not too expensive. And for what you get for the price point is pretty good. So you get career, complete races, and earn points to unlock new cars and tracks. Series, which is a season mode. Compete in the Final Apex Race Series across 7 seasons. And Test Drive allows you to test cars on tracks without having to worry about any of the aspects of racing. So if we go to career mode, you have a lot of tracks here. There's a ton of content. Look at all these tracks. There's just tons of tracks. There are just so many tracks. And the way you unlock them is you progress through each track, trying to get first place to earn the most points. The more points you earn, the more cars you unlock, and the more tracks you unlock as well. Now, a couple of things to point out. The fact that the text is on the side of the screen is a little off. It's a little weird. It's really hard to read. I'm not sure what the design choice was behind that. Another thing I don't really care for is how little points you get each race. Now, as you can see, I'm not doing too great, but that's because I don't have a really great car. The further you get, the more points you get, and eventually you unlock a better car. So if I go to Sagawa, for instance, I can unlock this next car at 1,000 points, 3,000 points, 5,000 points, 7,000 points, 10,000 points, until you unlock all of the cars available. And as you can see, each car is going to have different stats, different attributes. Once you pick your car, you can pick your color, and then hit race. Now, loading time is pretty good. It's not too bad. Now, for the price point, it is a good buy. You're going to get your money's worth here. But you understand that another thing that kind of irritates me is the fact that you can't change. There's no options for one. There's no in-game options, which I thought was kind of weird. You can't change the speed from kilometers per hour to miles per hour. So you have to know what kilometers per hour are if you want to know how fast you're going. Another thing is you can't. There's no adjustment to the volume. There's one adjustment you can make, and that's the music volume. Which the weird thing is they mapped it to the X button. So if I hit the X button, I can go ahead and turn the music off. I can increase it by 1, 2, 3, or 4. So that was pretty interesting. I don't know if they're going for just a means to put that in there, or maybe they're trying to go old school with like old school arcade cabinets that had that kind of feature. Maybe. A couple other things to point out is there's no sense of speed here. It feels like you're with the same speed all the time. There's no drafting. You can't draft to get further. It just goes based on speed and how well you're handling the corners. So do keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you're on a corner and you get off the track, the ground slows you down almost instantly, like to the point of almost instant stop. So you're going to have to learn these tracks and be good if you expect to get first place on some of these. As you can see, one of the main reasons I think I have first on one track, which is pretty easy. So there is a bit of a few issues with the game, but again, for the price point, $10, non-including taxes may be applied. It's not a bad deal for what you get here. Just be aware that it has some issues. Another thing to understand is that when there is a pit stop, but it doesn't do anything. My best guess as to why it's there is because, one, it should be there because it's racing. You have to be a pit stop area. Another reason I think is there is to help get ahead in the race. So if like you have a bunch of cars bunched up there, you can attempt to use the pit stop area to get ahead. But otherwise, there's no real benefit to using it. Also, I noticed the weird thing is that it's mirrored on the track, or the little mini map, and it's the only thing it's mirrored. If you notice, when you approach the pit stop, it's on the left side of the track, but on the mini map, the little track indicator there on the upper left, it's on the right. I'm not sure why that is. Another thing is that you can pit your cars. You can knock out your opponents. See if you notice here, I'm going in the pit stop area, and it's not showing that I actually went in that area. But the maneuvers you use to try to take down your opponents, sometimes it's random. Like you can hit a car, and see now I need to get more points in order to actually move on. I'm gonna try to do the first track, see if I can get first place. But it seems going around. Like you can hit a car from the back, from behind, and sometimes you'll just kind of bump them and kind of race with them. Other times you'll do that and actually knock them out. It just kind of depends. You can hit from the side too sometimes, and knock them out that way. But again, if you're going to try to knock your opponents out, understand that it's going to have the same effect as going off track. It's going to pretty much stop you instantly. So, if you want to do that, fine. Just understand that's going to happen. Now, you can look behind you. Weirdly enough, they mapped it to the RB button. So you can use it. I wish it was mapped to like a face button, but that's okay. At least it's here. At least it's an option. Another thing you have is the view options. Right now I'm racing from behind just because I prefer that. I normally race in first person, but this game I just can't bring myself to do it. It just feels off. If I hit the LB button, that'll give me the first person perspective. Again, it just feels kind of weird. Not what I'm used to with most racing games. And then if you hit the LB button again, you have an extremely close-up view, like immediately behind the car, which I think just feels, again, a little weird. That's why I choose to race like this. It just feels the most natural when playing this game. Oh, another thing that'll happen is when you start another race, you'll say I have no music, right? Well, I have to hit the volume up button a couple of times for the music to come back. I'm not sure if that's a bug. I'm sure it's a bug, but maybe they'll fix that with a patch. But I mean, for what you get for $10, like I said, I've said it before, I'll say it again. For $10, this is not a bad deal at all. It's fair to say it has its quirks. Let's just put it that way. It has its quirks, but overall, it's a great racing game. Definitely one I would recommend checking out if you're a fan of racing games and you're on a budget. $10 is a great deal for a good single player racing game. It's another thing. There's no multiplayer here. It is single player only. No online multiplayer. No local multiplayer. Just strictly single player experience. So keep that in mind as well. But again, overall, great racing experience for what you're going to get for the price point. I want to thank the publisher for the opportunity. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. As always, until next time, take care and happy gaming.